Hey, welcome to Keight's Crafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you a couple of square shaker cards. Let's get started. Starting off, I have some pattern paper from Doodlebug's Winter Wonderland and Honeybee Stamp's Halloween Harvest, and I am cutting it down to 3 3/4 so I could run it through my die press. I've used the Fawn outside in-stitch scalloped square stackable, say that 5 times fast, and I've created a frame with them. I created this frame by not cutting the two largest bits apart, which I will cut apart right here. So once I've got those cut out, I will create a frame on the inside of the card as well. Hindsight, I probably would have taken this and cut it on the inside of the card, so you get the stitched and the scallop kind of embossed, if you know what I mean, instead of the back side of the cutout kind of thing. And once I've cut this out, I will repeat this process 3 more times so that I can create 4 cards, but show you 2. So once that's all cut out and everybody is off to the side, I'm going to take this pattern paper and I'm going to adhere it to the front of my card base. Now I'm going to use a little bit of strong double-sided tape because tape runner I'm not as straight with, if you know what I mean, like using the tape runner, and as opposed to using just a strip, I'm a lot easier with my fingers, I guess. I get it a lot straighter instead of wonky, and I didn't want to have to sit there and peel up little bits of tape runner to keep it out of view from the empty space of my card, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm just taking off the release tape here, and I've added a little bit of Tombo mono glue to the back side to give me a little bit of wiggle room. That way I can line up all the little scalloped edges perfectly so everything looks nice and neat. So once I've mashed that all down, I have my card base ready to go. Now I'll take the inside of that and see how that looks there. If I'm happy with that, then I'm going to add some glue to that. But to do that, I'm going to leave it kind of stuck in the center there, and I'm just going to coat it with a bit of Tombow mono glue on the back side around the edges, and a little bit in the middle. And once I'm happy with the amount of glue that I have used, which I'm not globbing it on, I'm just putting a thin trail of it, and I just fold over the back side of the card, mash everything down, and make sure that everybody is lined up. So you can kind of see how there's not a lot of stability on that. So I'm going to take my little paper score thingy, bone folder or whatever you want to call it, my little score knife, and I'm going to reinforce that bend. Next, I figured I would add a sentiment to the inside of the card, which kind of looks like the outside, but is actually the inside. I don't know, my thought process for this was kind of evolving, as you will see in the next card. But this stamp is the Season's Greetings stamp from the Let It Snow stamp set. And that stamp set is an older one from Fawn. If I can recall correctly, I believe that was from the 2012 winter release. I could be wrong. So I thought I'd take the same stamp and reposition it on another inside panel and stamp it out instead of stamping it out after I've created the card, because this card is going to use the same method as the first, but I'm going to create this to be another shaker card because I can't get enough of them. I don't know what it is. It's like every time I sit down to make a card, I get an idea to make a card, and it's like as the card evolves, it's like, ooh, I'll make a shaker. Never mind the 20 million shakers that I've already made and subjected you to. But I don't know. Shakers are just fun. Maybe eventually I'll move on to another technique that, really thrills my fancy. But for now, we're going to do a different style of shaker. So I'm just taking my acetate and I'm cutting it down enough to be able to fit this frame, which I believe is, I think that's at 4 1/4. I want to say by 4 1/4, maybe 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. I don't know, it's going to be a challenge to even try to attempt to make an envelope for this, so that might be another video, another time, another day. I have not really made my own envelopes. I have cheated and just bought my envelopes because I'm lazy. And I have a Cricut, and I could be making them with my Cricut, but like I said, I'm lazy. I'd rather be making cards than screwing around with envelopes. So here you can see me attempting to use the tape runner against my better judgment, and I end up having to move the tape out from the little scalloped edges here. So, like I said, I'm not very good going in a straight line with the tape runner, and often opt to use the double-sided tape because it's a hell of a lot easier to do it this way, let's just say. So I've got my acetate cut down to size, and I've created my little window here, and now I've gone around with some double-sided foam tape and have made myself a little well. Now, I'm not going to use glitter for this, so I don't have to have the edges perfect, just tight enough to where I don't lose any of these micro beads from the frame itself. So I'm going to be using a couple of different colors of the micro beads. These are, I believe they're called the Recollections Fancy Glitter or something. Let me check my notes here. It is the Recollections Specialty Glitter. I just call them micro beads because you can't really string them, and they're really, really small. And I ended up seeing them on sale recently at Michael's. I think it was like buy one, get one free, or buy one, get one 50% off, or maybe it was a sale tag on them. I can't remember, but they only had these 4 colors left, and I was running out of the ones that you saw. I had 2 the same color of. And I really like these for shakers because they're small and you can fit them in flat shakers and they don't take up a whole lot of space. So once I've got enough of those in, and I wanted to have enough to make sure that I covered the bottom half of the card. That way when, if I decide to give this to somebody, I have a little bit of room to write not a sentiment, but, my little message for the recipient. I always struggle with that stupid word. The person who's getting the damn card. You know what I mean. I should just dissemble words sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that double-sided foam, and I'm going to add a second piece of acetate. As you can see here, I've gotten glue over it, so I flip it over so that way any residue of the glue on the side that I messed up doesn't stick to the microbeads, and then I could just wash, or wipe I should say, off the excess glue from that window, as you could see here. Just sprayed a little bit of water on that, and that just wipes off nice and neat. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go back in over top of that acetate and add in some of this double-sided tape. So that way I could adhere this to my card base. So you get a layer of tape, you add acetate. You put in your foam tape, you add acetate. You add another layer of tape. So you could do this with glue, but I don't know that I would recommend it. They'd probably be a little bit messy, and you'd have longer to wait for a lot of this stuff, which I love how instantaneously the double-sided tape sticks to things. Here I'm just kind of trimming off the excess of the acetate frame because I didn't line it up perfectly, which, is sometimes a pain in the butt. I probably could have cut it just a smidge smaller, but I don't know. I was kind of in the groove and didn't want to stop, so I just decided I'll just trim it off before I glue everything on. So I'm trying my best here with a pair of scissors to make it to where you don't see it popping out, and cutting acetate this way is rather difficult, so I don't recommend it. So once I'm happy with that, I am going to take the tape, put it down, and remove the backing of the release tape, and that way I can adhere it together. So once I've got that, I'll add a little bit of glue to it for a little bit of wiggle room and just to add a little more adhesion stability, because you know, it's a shaker card. You're going to be moving it around. So again, you see I keep flopping stuff all over the place. Haste makes waste. That saying can never be true enough. So here you can kind of see these stitched inside there. I wanted to make sure that everything was lined up. You could see how I have the frame here, and I'm not sure which way I want to do it. So I look at the pattern paper and see, okay, well, I've got that going one way, so I want to make sure that this goes the same way as the pattern paper, as I made the mistake with one of the Halloween ones I did. The ghost you can see up in the corner, I kind of put it on wrong and ended up having to go with it. I mean, it was a top folding card. I wanted it to be a side folding card, but it is what it is. So you can see here I screwed it up and now I'm just kind of correcting my mistake. So I'm going to throw some glue on that. Again, see, this is why I like to use glue for adhering paper, because I am a mess sometimes. So here I'm going to line that back up and mash that down good, and there's my card. And here you have my card completed, as well as the one without the shaker bits. And as promised, I have the Halloween ones with confetti glitter. I really enjoyed making these cards. The challenge would be finding an envelope for them. So if you've enjoyed today's content or found it helpful, please give this video a like. I also welcome you to subscribe, as I post weekly. Here's another video I think you might enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.